Thank you very much. Much appreciated. So I'm real excited to be back here in West Virginia, especially in Charleston, West Virginia, not to be confused with Charleston, South Carolina. Right, Eric? Ironically, I will be in Charleston, South Carolina next weekend for B-Sides and Simply Cybercon. But real excited to be back here. Special thanks to Jimmy and Nick and Tony and Matt, the rest of the board, and Dakota for allowing me to come back and share with you my new presentation this year focused on deepfakes, or what we like to call synthetic media. Now, before we get going, I have a special introduction that I want to share with you. Good, and here we go.
Hello there, and welcome to James Mcquiggan's presentation, where he will be talking about deepfakes. I'm so happy that James was able to come back to secure West Virginia and present for all of us. What a swell guy, and my new best friend. So sit back and relax and enjoy James's talk on deepfakes with maybe a new dad joke or two in there as well. Take it away, James.
Thank you very much, Jimmy. I greatly appreciate the introduction. So if you didn't figure that out, yes, that was a deep fake. And later on in the presentation, I will have Jimmy explain how that was made. So at least that'll make you stick around for 45 minutes. All right. So synthetic media, deep fakes, we are seeing that they are socially engineering our users, our organizations, and attacking our organizations to do what cybercriminals do and scammers do, make money. They're trying to steal money one way or another, and we're seeing it in a variety of different ways. They're going after the Swifties to buy cookware, which I just thought was really, really interesting, because a lot of the Swifties are teenagers that don't have any money, but trying to get Taylor Swift to promote Hexclad or whatever the cookware was, I thought was really interesting. Then if you remember, or if any, from February, we had the Biden robocall that got created. We'll play that later on for you, but it was interesting because that got created by a street magician with less than $20, and he did it in about 10 minutes. And we're going to go through and explain how those work. And then, of course, if you happen to catch Nick's presentation this morning, there was a company over in Hong Kong where a CFO, through a series of chat messages and a Zoom video call, sent $25 million to the scammers, thinking that it was the CFO asking him to send it to one of their clients. But kind of even, not as high in money. Here we had somebody that was trying to use it for their own personal gain. I believe it was a gym teacher created a deep fake of the principal using racial slurs and messages. The principal, I believe, was originally fired, but then rehired because then they discovered that it was a deep fake overall. But it's very easy, very quick, and it's what we're going to look at. Even back in politics, we've got a senator that is, dealing with a deep fake as well through video calls. And we're going to look at some of the software and the capabilities that are out there with regards to that. So how do we defend against synthetic media? Not sympathetic or pathetic, but synthetic media, and how do we protect our users and our organizations? So that's what we're going to look at. So my name is James Mcquiggan. I'm a security awareness advocate for KnowBe4. Just hit 5 years this past week, so it's always interesting. I know it's time for Secure West Virginia because it's my work anniversary at KnowBe4. I'm also the producer of our podcast, Security Masterminds. I'm a college professor, teach at Full Sail University in Central Florida, teaching cyber threat intelligence, which is a lot of fun. I spent 18 years working at a little German company called Siemens, and I also run the ISE2 Central Florida chapter president there in Central Florida as well. So, and earlier this week, I earned my OSC, my OSINT certification, because OSINT's a lot of fun to do. So, enough about me. Real quick, KnowBe4, we have over 70,000 customers worldwide doing phishing simulations, security awareness training, and now email security. So that's the marketing slide they make me put in all the decks. But more importantly, and one of my favorite slides, essentially with KnowBe4 is we want to deal with helping organizations deal with social engineering. And my own personal mantra is the fact that I want to help people make smarter security decisions every day. And so whether that's through ransomware, because of ransomware, whether through phishing, social engineering, passwords, or deepfakes. we want to help make our family, our friends, colleagues, we want to make sure they're making those smarter security decisions. So, all right. Essentially, my day job is to go around and talk with people about the importance of securing their dried grapes. Yeah, it's raising security awareness. All right, Jimmy, here you go. Okay, fine. Got to pay Jimmy for laughing at my jokes for me. Thanks, Jimmy. So yeah, there may be some more of these spread throughout the presentation. Just kind of keep the air out. I already saw the college students just roll their eyes, so we're in for a good time this afternoon. So the outcomes for the next 173 minutes, I got like 375 slides. I love it when people look up and smile thinking I'm joking. Yeah, I am. So, we know that synthetic media is quick and it's easy to create. We're going to look at we're going to learn about synthetic media, how we can spot it, and then what we can do to be able to protect and defend against it. So it's kind of how we're going to break it down over the next bit. So, synthetic media. Let's have a look at the different types that are out there. Now, synthetic media, deepfakes, you know, it kind of all bases from AI, and we've all been learning about AI the last couple of years. For me, I think back to the late 90s when Garry Kasparov was playing chess against IBM's Deep Blue. And as a chess player, and remembering Garry Kasparov, he actually beat it the first 3 times he played Deep Blue. When they finally came back on the 4th try after reprogramming and doing whatever it is they did, it finally beat him. I'm guessing this is him struggling in the 4th game because he looks really, really worried. Now we kind of fast forward to 2011, and we have Jeopardy. We have IBM's Watson going up against the humans. And this is on Final Jeopardy, the last question, where they gave their final question. And you can see that Watson pretty well wiped the floor with Ken Jennings and Brad Rutter. And what was impressive is the fact that here you had a computer that was able to listen to the question, ring in at the appropriate time, process what the question was, get an answer, and then answer it in speech. And when it comes to Jeopardy, you have to ring in at a particular point. Alex or Ken had to finish the question. There was a beat, and then lights come on when you can actually ring in. That's why you always see them clicking very feverishly, because they ring in too soon, and then it locks you out for like a third of a second. But more importantly, what came out of this for me, and impressively, was what Ken Jennings said. I, for one, welcome our new computer overlords. So he was already accepting the fact that, okay, AI's coming along, computers, and everything else, we got to be ready for it. So, essentially, AI is the new electricity. You think back, well, I don't think any of us in this room can think back 100 plus years when electricity came along. Electricity came along and had a massive change to society. People were now low. The number of fires were probably reduced because they weren't using candles. You had lights that were able to come on in the evening. And then all the technology started coming out of that, helped supporting that. Everything from, we had radio and television and everything else. And Anna Ring was the one that kind of had that comment, who's a professor at Stanford as well. But AI is the new electricity. For us, we think about electricity as it's in the walls, we throw on the light switch, we turn on our TV, plug into the wall to charge our phones. Electricity is always there. We kind of almost take it for granted, except for the people that might be in Florida or I think even here in West Virginia, you guys got a little impacted by Helene. But it's something that's everywhere and it's already impacting, and that's what AI is doing. We've already been dealing with AI enough over the last 20 some odd years already, but it's in the last few years with generative AI that's changed a lot for us. But when we look at AI, we know that it breaks down. We have the artificial intelligence is kind of the overall umbrella, breaking down into machine learning, deep learning, neural networks, large language models is what we're seeing so much more with generative AI. But when we look at that, when we look at synthetic media, we have what are called GAN models, generative adversarial network models. And this essentially is when you pit one AI against another. You have a generator and you have a disruptor. And the generator is going through and generating the image or the audio or the video, and then you have the discriminator that's going through and trying to detect if it's real or not. And they're going back and forth. And the technology is improving that the discriminator is able to detect a lot more, and so the generator has to work even harder and with advanced computer resources, being able to create more and more realistic either audio or video. And so, yeah, so it's basically a back and forth of it trying to determine what's real and what's not. So when we break out into the different synthetic medias, we have text, we have images, we have audio, and we have video. So looking at text real quick, we're all familiar. Who's all used ChatGPT? Yeah, pretty well everybody in the room for the most part, yeah. I know I do. I like using it every day. I know my college kids like to try to use it every day as well. And we're going to talk about ways that I can detect that in a little bit. But of course, with generative AI, there's that hallucination, because it's, as with AI, it's all based on math, and it's all about determining what the next word is in the sequence as it's creating it, in its base form. And of course, it may hallucinate. And still one of my favorite stories is from May of 23, where you had a couple lawyers in New York researching the case that they were working on, and were trying to find other cases that were similar to the one that they had. And when the paralegals that were researching it decided to use ChatGPT and gave it the information, ChatGPT came back with 6 other cases that could be used. And the paralegals were like, hey, this is great, cool, put it in the brief, gave it to the lawyers, they went over to the courthouse, gave it to the judge, and the judge looked at it and said, yeah, these cases aren't real, they don't exist. So they got sanctioned and fined and essentially had their hands slapped. But it kind of brings us to the point when it comes to ChatGPT, we can only we have to make sure we want to trust it, but then we also have to make sure that we're verifying the information as well. Egress, a KnowBe4 company, came out with a report a little while ago. We're seeing an increase in phishing attacks because cybercriminals can now leverage ChatGPT or a large language model to write emails in a particular language. For years, when it came to security awareness, we always talked about the fact that, you know, if you see bad spelling or the grammar isn't very good, then wow, that got louder. If the spelling's bad and the grammar's bad, well then most likely it's somebody from another country trying to send you a phishing email. So that was the telltale sign. Now you can use ChatGPT and write it in any language. You want to write it in Japanese, go ahead. You want to write it for Estonians, you can do that. So languages that weren't very common, it's now a lot easier to be able to do that with ChatGPT. And so we're seeing a significant increase by like 28%. 44% of them are coming from compromised accounts. So these are the business email compromised, where cybercriminals, scammers are getting into email accounts and leveraging those real accounts to connect with either people that they know, business associates, family, friends, whatever it may be. Then we start seeing the 45% that have links. So a lot of the time they want to build rapport. They'll send you an email. Hey, how's it going today? Are you in the office? It could be a picture that says, thanks for the flowers that you sent me. Could be have the wrong name that it's addressed to you to get you to have that curiosity and get your reply. And so they're not sending out links right away. They're building up that rapport first, then sending out the link. We're seeing a lot more AI integrated in the phishing toolkits. So much so that we're seeing more deepfakes and AI in itself of the large language model, generative AI being in there as well. So when we look at the dark web, you've got the GPT tour that's available. And then you've got this out on the dark web, you've got all the different LLMs. So they've got their own large language models that they've created for themselves to leverage, to use, because if you try to use ChatGPT and ask it to write you code to do ransomware or a remote code execution or a phishing email, it won't do it. But now you've got all these other large language models that are out there that you can buy through the dark web. When we look at synthetic images, we can look back at we give it a prompt, we look back and we can see that, we've been doing photo manipulation for years with Photoshop and so forth, but, we can give it a fun prompt and get a really cool image like that. And so the cybercriminals aren't really leveraging a lot of generative images. We are seeing it where there is an application that will nudify somebody, which is just creepy in itself, but they are leveraging that for sextortion and extortion capabilities as well. You've even got it so where you can have your own, image generation capabilities on your own home computer. If you got a nice powerful desktop computer with a really good graphics card, you can have somebody like this, who's my colleague Eric Crone, who's sitting here in the audience, take an image of myself and our other coworker, Javad Malik, and turn it into this. Yeah. So come and check out Eric's presentation tomorrow for even more fun goodies that he's going to have with his presentation. Anyway, so yeah. But now we get into synthetic audio. This is where we start getting into a lot more of the scams that are happening out there. Case in point, you've got 11 Labs and you've got Play HT, there's Descript, you've got Resembler, Respeecher, there's a variety, and then if you go out to Hugging Face, there's a whole slew of audio cloning type software. And of course, as I mentioned earlier, we had the issue with, the Biden robocall earlier this year.
What a bunch of malarkey. We know the value of voting Democratic when our votes count. It's important that you save your vote for the November election. We'll need your help in electing Democrats up and down the ticket. Voting this Tuesday only enables the Republicans in their quest to elect Donald Trump again. Your vote makes a difference in November, not this Tuesday. If you would like to be removed from future calls, please press 2 now.
I thought it was really funny that it had that at the end of the message. If you want to be removed from the call, press 2. Try to give it that believability. Now, a lot of people right out of the gate knew that it was a deep fake. It wasn't really him. There were some people that were quite upset that why Biden would, because it was sent out to all the Republican constituents that were in New Hampshire. So we're seeing that it's very easily created. With 11 Labs, with Play HT, you basically just need to upload anywhere from 30 seconds to 1 minute of audio of somebody. Now, the fun thing is with Jimmy, with the audio that I generated from her, it wasn't hard to go out and find presentations of people. With Biden, there's plenty of audio out there. Last week, I did this presentation for T-Mobile, and I took the CEO for T-Mobile, and I generated a deepfake of him. There's plenty of audio of him out there speaking in interviews, and all I needed was his headshot, and I was able to create that deepfake. So it doesn't take a lot for it to be able to sample it through machine learning, deep learning, being able to then generate more audio of that person with whatever text you give it. Because once you type in the text, it'll be able to generate it. With 11 Labs, it does it in 30 seconds, depending on the length of the sample that you're doing. Same with Play HT. And then you can leverage those with an API to connect to other programs. I'm going to demo that here in a minute. So essentially, when we're doing text to audio, you have the natural language processing ability, takes the text, puts it into the auto sampling, creates that voice cloning for the output that you're looking for. So kind of just a fun graphic. One of the other fun things you can do is take text and put it to music. There's a fun little app, and pretty well this part of the presentation is just entertainment. I don't see any cyber criminals trying to create music to scam you out of stuff, but it's just really interesting. So you provide a music prompt, you select the style, it will generate the song and the music with the lyrics pretty well within about 30 seconds, and it's about a 2.5 to 3 minute song. So to give you an example, here's one called Cyber Guardians, and the prompt that I gave it was an upbeat country line dance about secure West Virginia, Charleston, West Virginia, with a theme about wild, weird, secure West Virginia in October, where they educate the users and have fantastic speakers. So this was one of the songs.
In the heart of Charleston, where the rivers meet, cyber warriors gather and they can't be beat. Matt and Jimmy guiding through the darkest night, secure West Virginia shining ever so bright.
So that's one. Here's another one. Hey, this is all the app. Literally 30 seconds.
In Charleston town where the rivers meet, there's a place where tech folks keep the beat from dawn to
Now the voice does sound a little robotic, but it recognizes that Charleston, West Virginia's got a river. And then this is the last one that I did today.
Well, you do. Well, you do. Charleston lights are shining bright. Oh yeah. Cyber minds are set to ignite. learning skills and having fun. Wild, weird, secure, everyone.
So, yeah, you kind of get the idea. You can pretty well use it for free. There's no charge. I didn't have to pay. You sign up, you create an account, you give it a prompt. Pretty well any type of genre. You want everything from rap to accordion music to line dancing, whatever you can think of. So yeah, so that was done. It pretty well, each song took about 30 seconds. It generates 2 of them. When I've done this presentation before in the past, I've had people come up to me, preferably, it's been other dads that have gone, I've showed this song to my kids and now they've been creating songs every day anytime they need something. So, need a theme song for next year? Secure West Virginia, there you go. All right. So yeah, again, when we start looking at how text to music, it's, again, using the natural language processing capability, going through, and it's only a 200 character prompt. It's like as long as it is an X tweet or X prompt post is. So it goes through and analyzes the text, determines what the key words are, creates the music, synthesizes the song, creates lyrics extremely quick, and puts it all together, and you get that output. So Suno is one, and there's another one, I think, where is it? Come on, go back. Udio. Udio.com is another one, but Suno's real easy, and it doesn't cost anything to use it. So, okay. So, however, we are seeing deepfake audios used in attempted theft and also kidnapping. We have there was also with the LastPass employee, we also saw it with the MGM, where they basically got called up and within 10 minutes they were able to gain access. But here with the LastPass, sorry, not with the Palo Alto employee, you had them call up and they were talking to him like they had his daughter. And when they put her on the phone, she was screaming, she was crying, she was saying, Daddy, they've kidnapped me, I need you to send the money. Again, that was all through an audio prompt that they got off his daughter's social media. Whether TikTok, Snapchat, which probably wasn't on Facebook, so most likely at a TikTok or Snapchat, very easy to be able to grab that audio, run it through the sampler, and create whatever text that you want. We also have Rachel Toback, who is one of our industry leaders when it comes to social engineering. And she did this demo, it was a couple years ago.
You have stolen about $2,500 worth of hotel points. And worst of all, you have put me in a middle seat.
On a 5-hour flight.
Oh my God. And they just let you do it?
Yeah.
Damn.
So I am here in Las Vegas for 2 of the world's biggest hacking conferences, and for some reason I have agreed to be hacked. I'm meeting Rachel Toback, who specializes in a special form of hacking called social engineering, and I'm very nervous.
I feel like I know pretty much everything about you.
I instantly don't trust you. So am I going to be safer today, thanks to you?
You and every other customer will be safer today, thanks to what you're willing to let me do.
Well, let's get started, I guess.
Okay, so you want to assume that everything that you put on social media is public. Information that can be found in places like this can be used to authenticate you with different companies. Do you remember this tweet?
Yeah.
I used this to gain access to your current address.
What?
So what I did is I called up this furniture company right here, and I basically said, hey, we're gonna buy another one of these pieces of furniture, but I need to make sure that I don't accidentally have the wrong information on the account. And they said, no, I mean, you ordered something a while ago, but the thing that you ordered we shipped to this address. And yeah, I think I got his updated address, which is pretty scary because that happened in 30 seconds. I got your current address. I got your birthday from Twitter. I called like pretty much every business that he ever listed that he used on his Twitter or Instagram. What you have to understand is when you do that, I now know which companies you use, and I know which companies to call as you.
What did you get from the boutique hotel?
Your phone number and your email address.
They gave you my phone number.
Mm-hmm. So I'm going to be doing these phone calls. I'm going to be actually live hacking. So when I call, your phone number is going to display on their caller
So
ID.
she's spoofing his number when she calls.
Who are you really?
No, this is Billy O'Sullivan. I can tell you my address, phone number, date of birth.
Whatever you need to know to verify that that's really me.
That's wild.
I am on the road right now and I'm having trouble getting access to my internet, but I need to transfer points to my friend for our bridal shower. Hopefully you can help me out over the phone. I have all the information. I have 90,000, is that correct? So the first and last name is Rachel Toback. Oh, they've been transferred? Okay, fantastic.
They're gone.
And out
Thank
they
you.
go.
Have a great day. Bye-bye. Are your points gone?
They're gone. That is crazy. When you call this airline, it's going to be coming from my number.
Yes.
As you know, I have a flight leaving Vegas.
I'll put you in the middle. I'm trying to do this like personal essay thing, so can you move me to a middle seat, kind of in the back of the plane? I know you probably don't get that request a lot. Oh, perfect. Okay, so it's a row right before the last row, and it's in the middle seat.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
You're in the back of the plane, middle seat.
I had an exit aisle.
I know. He picked it up saying, Mr. O'Sullivan, how can I help you?
If I was not sitting here with you and didn't know, they said, well, sir, you called up and requested this, I would flip the out.
So the sad thing about that was he was able to get his points back from Rachel. She was able to transfer back. They couldn't change the seat. He ended up flying back to the UK in the middle seat, second last row of the plane. So, kind of taking it a step further, if you've ever, for those of us in here that call up hotels needing to get, you know, our hotel bill, or you got a question of the hotel, when you call up Hyatt, Marriott, Hilton, you end up right away getting a voice. You get someone to talk to. It's none of the press 1 for this, 2 for that, and working through a menu. You get to talk to somebody. There is software behind that that is essentially running connected to a knowledge base, connected to a voice, and connected to a large language model. So a colleague of ours did this, and then I decided to do it myself. But essentially, there's the call center software is readily available as a service online. So I connected onto that. I took a voice of a good friend of mine, Dr. Gerald Ozier, who does a daily cyber threat brief, Simply Cyber, every day, 8 o'clock in the morning on YouTube. And I took Jerry's voice, got a sample, put it in Play HT, linked it into this software, and gave it this prompt, which essentially stating that he was in a car accident, and he needed money, and he knew that I had a crypto wallet, and I needed to send him money through the crypto wallet. You're going to hear a conversation from the large language model as Jerry's voice and me. See if it plays.
Hello?
There we go.
Hey, it's me. I need your help. I've been in a car accident and now I'm being held by the police. I don't have my wallet on me and I need to pay the tow truck and start the repairs on the car. Can you please send me $500 to cover the costs? I know you have a crypto wallet, so it would be really quick and easy for you to send the money that way. I also need an additional $1,500 to get me out.
Jerry, slow down, man. What's going on?
I'm sorry, I'm just really shaken up. I was in a car accident and now I'm being held by the police. I need your help to cover the cost of the tow truck and start the repairs on the car.
Slow down. I'm
really sorry, but I'm in a tough...
I get you're in a tough situation,
I'm sorry.
but you were in a car accident? How bad's the car?
The car is pretty banged up. I need to get it towed and start the repairs as soon as possible. Can you please send me $500 to cover the cost? And I also need an additional $1,500 to get me out of jail. I know you have a crypto wallet, so it would be really quick and easy for you to send the...
A crypto wallet? Yeah, but it's, where do I send the money to? Which crypto wallet is it, or do you need?
I'm glad you have a crypto wallet. I need the money urgently. I can provide you with the wallet address and you can send the money as soon as possible. Thank you so much for helping me out in this difficult situation.
Okay, all right. You got to slow down. Too. What's the crypto wallet ID?
I understand. Thank you for your help.
What's the crypto wallet ID?
I'm really sorry. I can't provide that information.
You just told me you could provide me the crypto wallet ID. How can I send you the money if you don't give me the ID number?
I apologize for the confusion, but I can't provide that information.
Which I thought was really hysterical, but if I put in the prompt with the crypto wallet ID, he might have given it to me. But you can hear that I was interrupting him and he was apologizing and then able to carry on the conversation. So it's listening and reacting to what I'm saying as well. So much so, and as I mentioned, our colleague Perry Carpenter, who's our chief evangelist at KnowBe4, took this software to DEF CON this past summer. Anybody go to DEF CON this summer? Yeah, besides you, Eric? Okay. So at the Social Engineering Community Village, they have a capture the flag competition every year. And it's kind of like the CTF they're doing down the hall, but here it's done with social engineering. You call up a company and you have a list of phone numbers ahead of time. And you're sitting in a booth with a room full of people watching you. And it's a sound booth. And you tell them what number to call and you call the person and you have to gain information from them. Usually it's what kind of browser you're using, what kind of VPN, what kind of garbage waste management company do you have, what kind of copier do you have. Questions that you can use as a social engineer to build rapport to talk to the next person. Well, Perry took that call center software, 4 different voices, one of which was Taylor Swift, which I thought was really interesting, and he obtained 17 out of the 21 or 25 flags that he needed. And when you heard the voice talking to the person on the end of the line, you could tell they didn't think it was a scam. You could tell they thought the person they were talking to was real. Now, the interesting thing about this competition is the computer did it, the AI did the competition, and then a human went in and they did theirs. Like I said, they caught 17 of the flags. The human only got 12. So you're thinking, woohoo, wow, the AI beat the human. Well, the kicker was they went for quality, not quantity, and there were different points associated with the different flags. And the AI just went for flags, whatever it could get, either in order. It really wasn't looking at overall quality of the points. However, Perry did say afterward he could easily add that into the prompt and it would be a different competition. So we'll have to see if that happens next year. But extremely fascinating that we're seeing that. So synthetic video, deepfakes, we've all seen them. We've been hearing about them over the last number of years. Everything from CGI, motion capture, you had the Obama deepfake video that happened as well. And there's a variety of different tools and software that's out there that lets you create it. Whether you're looking at deepfake live or face swap, there's plenty that you can use on your phone. A lot of different platforms, software as a service, applications. Hugging Face has got a ton of them as well. And we deal with augmented reality. Now, you may have seen this video, but the interesting thing about the video, the judge in this is from Texas. Earlier this year, I was in Texas at the Texas State Bar, working with them in an AI workshop, and sitting next to me was this gentleman, Judge Roy Ferguson, and he made a comment with regards to something, and somebody made a comment back to him about cat filter. And I said, what are you talking about? He goes, I was the judge that dealt with this.
I'm here live. I'm not a cat.
I can see that. I think if you click the up arrow next to the start video or stop video button at the bottom, you'll see video settings. And I believe in video settings, you will see the video filters option.
What cracks me up is the guy in the upper left-hand corner brought in his friend. Here, check this out. And there's the judge, Roy Ferguson. And then the guy definitely. So there's Judge Roy Ferguson with enough know-how to help somebody talk him through. I teased him afterward. I said, you should have been in help desk. We've been seeing, we kind of look at the way AI and augmented video have been going, where you could put your picture in and it would do a fun, enough of that. And I was tempted, what happens if you do it on a cat? It Rickrolls you and gives you nothing. So, however, there is software that's out there. One particular product service that's out there is called HeyGen, where you can pick an avatar, and I used it last year when I did my AI presentation here to do the introduction for me. But you can actually upload yourself, and again, enter in text, and it will speak. It will do all the video creation for you.
I've now taken it one step further. I've leveraged HeyGen to create my own video and audio, created last night at my hotel.
So, provide the text, it'll generate the video. Now, one of the cool things with large language models is its ability to translate.
Ahora podemos ir un paso más allá, ya que he creado mi propio avatar y con solo escribir texto, puedo crear un video mío hablando mientras trabajaba desde una habitación de hotel en Copenhague, Dinamarca.
Now, that was a different statement than what I just did before, but my wife knows that I only speak 2 languages, English and sarcasm. I certainly don't speak Spanish, but I have been told that it's pretty darn close, so it's pretty easy to be able to create that. So, at the beginning, I had the video of Jimmy. Here's Jimmy to explain how I made it.
To create this deepfake, James downloaded a video of me talking and converted it to an audio MP3 file. He imported that audio file into 11 Labs to use as a sample file to create the deepfake voice. With the AI voice generated, he typed out the text he wanted me to say in 11 Labs. This created the output audio file, which was used in the online service called Hedra, along with a picture of me, which is the image you see here. Hedra generated the video of the awkward body movement and my lips moving to the words of the audio spoken by the deepfake audio. All of this was done without needing any authorization, just using publicly available information.
Good thing I asked Jimmy for permission. But essentially, the headshot I used of Jimmy was from the Secure West Virginia website, and like I said, I was able to get other video that had Jimmy speaking and leverage that. Now, cybercriminals are certainly going to be able to leverage that for their own nefarious capabilities. We're now seeing dark web activity where there's software available that you can do deep fakes of a particular person, and we know this is most likely what's getting used in those ransom attacks and other type of scams that are going on as well. We're now getting it where it's with the webcams, where essentially you've got the person, that's the actual person sitting there, and then they've got their deepfake that gets overlaid on their face, and they're able to pick. So in some of the software that's available, they've got a bunch of heads already loaded or faces loaded, and they just click whichever one they want to use. This particular one, let's see, do I have him? Yeah, Hackster, I think is it. He's got a downloadable executable that you can get and download for Windows and load up. And I loaded it on my machine. Now, unfortunately, my graphics card was not the best, but I was actually able to play around with it, link it in with OBS, virtual camera, and you can connect up to Zoom and off you go. Of course, he's using Elon Musk there, but insert whatever target or mark that you have for that. We've seen a lot of other synthetic video, the famous one being Zelensky. They were able to rebut it pretty quick and get moved on with that. And I mentioned earlier about the 25 million. Again, it started with text messages. They built the rapport, socially engineering them, got on a Zoom call, made it appear like, okay, we're on the Zoom call. He could see them, but then they disconnected, saying bad connections, whatever it may be. But they're working the different scams so that they can get people, you know, when $25 million, whatever money that took, probably was, you know, maybe a couple $1,000, 5,000, 10,000 if you got yourself a really good high-end graphics card and system running. Synthetic identities. This is another issue where we're seeing where people are able to create those fake identities online. We use them in OSINT for sock puppets, virtual accounts that, you know, that way we can hide our tracks when we're doing investigations. But they're also being used where it's easy to create these identities for, you know, different scams and so forth. Whole lot of fun statistics. Essentially, we're seeing a lot more and an increase in these synthetic identities being created. So much so that being used by cybercriminals, you know, we've seen over 110 different face swap tools that are getting used so they can leverage them for interviews. Case in point, if anybody heard earlier this year, KnowBe4 hired a North Korean. Not intentionally. So I'm going to kind of, and a lot of that came down to that synthetic identity, where, you know, we came forward. Once we realized it happened, we came forward with it because we wanted to be able to share the story with everybody. So there's kind of a fun rundown. I'm not going to, I could do a whole presentation, and some of our colleagues have done a whole presentation on it. I'm going to give you the 30-second version of it. But basically, we did background checks. They've got it that set up with their candidates, and essentially Pat went through, we did a Zoom interview with them, we had phone interviews with them, and essentially hired them to be a programmer, and they were going to be remote. And at the last minute, they turned to us and said, hey, I'm moving up to Washington State, can you have the laptop sent there? Sure, okay. So the laptop gets sent up there, we get the acknowledgement that it's been delivered, they've signed for it. That evening, we see the computer come online, get connected to the KnowBe4 network, and when we hire new employees, they get in a limited environment. They only get access to the training website. They don't get a lot of access to any access to any other tools until they've done their week's plus worth of training. Within a few minutes, we start seeing malware trying to be loaded. We see it getting connected to another external device to try and copy files over. So our SOC team basically reaches out going, hey, can you get on Slack? And they're pushing back going, nah, I'm not available really to get on Slack. Our CISO gets called in, he starts looking at things, and within 25 minutes, we shut down connectivity and shut down the laptop. The funnier thing about it is we asked the person to ship the laptop back to us, and they did. Stupid criminals. But anyway, we ended up getting it, and of course it went right to the FBI for their investigations. But out of that, there's 10 things that we changed with regards to our HR policies. Laptops are now shipped to to either a UPS store or to their address where we can verify who it's being shipped to. Basically, video interviews can have no filters, no blurred backgrounds. We're now using a new background service that's actually up there with the government background checks and deeper. So we've adjusted our policies a little bit, but we've made this public and what we've done so that everybody else, so if you're working with an HR department, definitely check out the blog on the Know Before website for it. So with all the times that we use our computers to listen to music, does anybody know what kind of music a computer likes to listen to? Be an algorithm? Yep, thank you very much. Okay. So real quick, with regards to the misinformation campaigns, cybercriminals love to leverage the images if they are doing it for disinformation campaigns. Case in point, I apologize for the sensitivity of this one, this got spread around about 80,000 to 100,000 different Twitter and Facebook accounts of a man pulling children out of a bomb site within the Israel and Hamas conflict. However, it was synthetic, it was generated. There were a lot of missing artifacts. You had fingers missing, you had body parts forming in the clothing. So very quickly, it was debunked. But the problem is when you see that image and you react, again, cyber criminals, scammers are working on our emotions to react to something like this. We're seeing it with the elections, and we've actually started hearing more from Russia with regards to the deepfakes that are coming out with regards to the different, mainly Kamala Harris, different pictures and so forth. But again, trying to spread that misinformation, disinformation campaign. The impacts that there are to businesses, again, I could probably spend a whole hour just talking this, but with regards to these misinformation campaigns, it's essentially either targeting us for society or for a specific organization to do one of those things overall. I like working with Microsoft employees, but you know why they're always anxious? It's because they're on edge. Yep, y'all got that one. Okay. So how do we detect it? And I got about 10 minutes to wrap this up. But, we're seeing, an increase in deepfake scams. We're seeing the increase in the way that they're being used, the different capabilities, the access to, the different industries that they're targeting. They're going after crypto. Why? Because that's where the money is. A significant increase here in North America. You've got executives that aren't sure their users can spot a deepfake, so that's important as well. CISOs are very concerned, your chief information security officers are very concerned about deepfakes and phishing, because the phishing increase as well. So what's some of the basic detection? A lot of it comes down to trust and verify. A lot of it's going to come down to the fact that we still need to keep on the same path when it comes to spotting phishing. You need to make sure we're checking who it's coming from, checking the links. So there are 3 questions that I always ask when it comes to my email. And if I'm not expecting the email, I'm going through and I'm kind of querying it a little further. Is the person that's sending to me, do I know them? Are they a stranger? Are they asking me to do something unusual, strange, in a hurried manner? And a lot of the time I'm going to go through and verify who it's coming from. One of the things we do and know before is I have phishing emails that come from my boss, like she's declined my expense report. And when I'm traveling a lot, as often I am, and I get an email that says your expense report's been declined, it's like, crap, now I got to pay for it? A lot of the time, now I'm not expecting that. It's like, all right, I'll go check it on the computer, and it turns out to be fake. Because if I did get a decline from my boss, she'd text me and let me know first. But essentially going through, asking those 3 questions when it comes to your email. GPT-0 is a generated text detector, a GPT detector. There are 3 documents that are on here you're going to see. One is a document that was created by ChatGPT. Another one is that was created by ChatGPT that I modified. And then the third one is an article that I wrote about 4 years ago on the Conti ransomware group. And I run all three of these programs through GPT-0, which will detect if it's been written by a large language model. And let's see if I can get it to, if I can pause it at the right point here. So I'm basically loading all three of these into the service on the website, and then it goes through and it processes and lets me know, there it is, good. Basically, it lets me know. So what you've got is I gotta go up and look at it here, but basically, the first one, AI and cybersecurity webinar, it says the probability is 55% that it was written by a human. That's the one I did half and half. 3CX is a document that I had that ChatGPT wrote, and then the Conti ransomware one came back saying 97% human. I use this along with Originality, AI, and Bypass GPT for my students' assignments to detect if they've been written by AI or not. So we're starting to get tools now that can help us detect generative text. However, video, we're still dealing with issues when it comes to false positives. And there's a variety of different ones. Deepfake detector, deepware, the deepfake dashboard. I ran Jimmy's audio file that I generated through this particular site, through Resemble, and it came back saying that it was false. So it detected that it was false. Cool. I ran the video through Deepware, and it came back and said it was real. And you can see there's 4 different services that it detected, and then it thought it was real. I ran it through another one called the Test IV, but it came back saying it was false. So we've got sites that are, the other condition I would have done if I had time, but I only got to see Jimmy this morning for the first time, would have been to record her with my phone and have her say the same thing and then upload it and see what it did. But we are seeing a lot of false positives from the different deepfake detectors. I came across 10 different deepfake detectors and checked those out. Some you have to sign up for a demo, some you have to pay, some you can get a free version, but it's very limited. It'll only run 5 or 6 seconds. So essentially, you can get all the deepfake creation software out there for almost nothing, but to be able to detect it, now they're charging us. And so that's kind of, for me, it's hindering our capability of being able to detect it. So hopefully in the next year that improves. So if you've got synthetic video, if you want to ask yourself questions with regards to synthetic video, we're looking at being politely paranoid. Have a healthy level of skepticism. You know, is there a way that we can verify the video? Is there a way that we can, determine if it's real or not? We're working on the technology and the software to be able to get there. But we want to make sure that we're using private communications, that they're secure, making sure that we're educated. Again, have that healthy level of skepticism. Being able to report it, whether authorities within your organization or ic3v.gov. Anybody know how many programmers it takes to screw in a light bulb? None. It's a hardware problem. Figure the programmers would like that one. All right, so let's wrap it up with the last couple of minutes. So there's a duality with deepfakes. There's great ways to be able to use the tool to create training software, to be able to answer calls within a hotel environment or a customer service environment. But on the flip side, you can use it for ransom attacks and so forth. Just like AI. There's a huge democratization of synthetic media. It's getting easier to use. I mean, a street performer, he used within 20 minutes, he had the Biden audio file created. And as in technology is improving with that, it's getting a lot easier overall. We're seeing a lot of the challenges, trying to balance security with stability. There's a lack of expertise. We're getting more and more folks getting up to speed on it, but within organizations, there's that struggle. And then the unknown aspect of regulatory aspects. Trying to keep up with AI. There's a ton of different websites, newsletters that are out there. There's podcasts. There's training that's available if you're in the business, for business leaders that you can take. TLDR and The Rundown are 2 newsletters that I highly recommend. So, AI is an incredible tool. It's available to everybody. We want to make sure that we're politely paranoid. Be aware of the AI hallucinations, biases. Trust and verify. And the phishing game hasn't changed. Be aware of the links, don't rush, be skeptical. So, essentially, trust and verify, politely paranoid, healthy skepticism when it comes to all the synthetic media. Seeing as Halloween's coming up next week, if you end up having a broken or a vulnerable jack-o'-lantern, you know what you can do to fix it? You apply a pumpkin patch. So with that, I want to thank you all. Ooh, I had 30 seconds left. Thank you all for your time this afternoon and your attention. You can connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm on Twitter a little bit. My website, jamesmcquiggan.com. But thanks a lot for your attention and have a great time. Thank you.
See you then.